green flag comes out and we are underway.
Oh, no! And they hit. Oh, and now trouble. Oh, yeah.
Over turn 5, known as Madness.
Oh, no work.
Oh.
Into China Beach. Dean Martin taking a look to the inside.
You know, we talk about American Iron, John. It's one of the coolest classes in my mind because it's a classic battle of all the old school muscle cars.
Absolutely. It's a Mustang, Camaro, Firebird, what have you. It's a great class. The sound of this class is unbelievable when you hear it. When they go by, ripping by, just awesome cars. You can see right there, number 71, Chris Griswold, total monster car, big turbo. I think his car goes to 11, so it's definitely a total monster.
So our first national championship race of the weekend, making their way out onto the racetrack. And again, it will be American Iron. This race, of course, brought to you by the good folks at Maxim Motorsports. So American Iron Extreme, American Iron Super Touring 1, and Super Touring 2. And they will be not a standing start, which is cool. I like the rolling starts.
We never call them rolling because that would be really bad.
Yeah.
So let's start off with that grid, Rob. Here we go.
We'll start off with American Iron Extreme. You mentioned the 71, Chris Griswold. He will start on the pole alongside the 121 of Michael Stacy. The third car in American Iron Extreme will be Paul Fassler in the 18. Then we move back to Super Touring 1. Actually, the fourth car on the grid will be the first for ST1. Scott Willem will be out in the 61 alongside the 8 car of Paul Kaiser, and then the 548 of Terry Free. We move into Super Touring 2, the 27 of George Winkler, followed by the 222 of Jeff Sawtell, the number 9 of James Stevens, followed by the 69 of James Forbes. Kareem Alex Talbot, the 421, Chris DeSalvo in the 37, followed by Craig Capaldi in the 68. James Holloway in car number 7 with the 25 Greg Vanucci, the 22 of Cody Powell, and the 13 of Peter McIntosh.
American Iron, number 50, Dean Martin, last year's champion, followed by 55X, Richard Golinello. Next up, Will Stukas in the number 93. Number 4, Chris Cabetto, who we talked to just a minute ago. Then number 21, Robin Burnett. Number 1, Bruce Byerly is up next, followed by number 18, Team Fessler, which I believe is Brian Fessler, Paul Fessler's son. Number 134, TJ Bain in that Firebird. Number 12, Elliot Fisher. Number 77, Andrew Von Charbonneau is next, followed by number 91, Landon Ball, then number 7, Audrey Zavodsky. Number 328, Mark Smith is up next, followed by 76, Jim Thomas, the 70 of Al Watson, the 75 of Mark Adams, the 29 of Team Sarsfeld, 16X, Alex Udell, and Mickey Riemann in the number 41 car.
So that is your starting lineup, and again, you can watch the ticker up above on the screen there as you take a nice view of the GoPro speed shot on the front straightaway as the cars now make their way down into turn number 1. You know, we talk about this racetrack. There are a lot of passing opportunities, and we see a lot of dive bombs, a lot of big moves heading down into turn 1.
It's a great turn to make a pass because everybody is trying to set up just perfectly. You can see the exit there where people are coming around, and if you can kind of fake somebody out coming down that front straight and really get a run on them, it's a very important run. You see him coming down here into the keyhole turn, and if you get a lot of momentum under that bridge, you are going to be set up for perhaps a pass before the keyhole or doing a bonsai move under braking into that keyhole turn.
So again, it will be Chris Griswold on the pole, getting ready to take the green flag, the 71 in American Iron Extreme. And when you look at the statistics for Griswold, of course, we ran a qualifying race yesterday. We ran a qualifying race on Thursday as well. Griswold won both of those. He's out of Wisconsin in that Ford Mustang. He's actually leading the points in the Midwest region. He won this race in 2011, 2010, 2009, and 2007. So the guy knows his way around this racetrack.
Chris is awesome. I mean, just watching him go, and that car is just a total monster. Chris has track records all over the place. And here we go. Oh, boy, it looks like some drama.
Green is out as we're down the back straightaway, and one car off the racetrack and sliding around.
This is going to be interesting, Rob, because we'll see if they hold that start for that second wave and go to full course yellow. We'll have to be watching. Oh, and we got somebody else off.
Yeah, it looks like Griswold there, the blue car leading into, and I don't know exactly who was into the fence there, but that's up through Madness now down into turn at number 7. They'll go underneath the Honda Bridge, and this is where you know, you got to be pretty cautious here on lap number 1.
Well, it looks like we may have a start for, well, I'm not sure, Rob. It's looking very messy out there. Looks like they've come under full course yellow.
And it looks like that car that hit the wall there in turn 5 was the 27 car of George Winkler. So,
but this wave looks like it's gone green, and they are sliding all over the place as they are going.
John, I know you ran around the course earlier today. There is that 27 car we mentioned. George Winkler was on the pole for ST2. ST2 was John Winkler there, and he got into the fence, and that's just a tough break. Driver out of Frederick, Maryland.
Now George is one of our drivers here. We may check in with him in a minute to see how he's doing, but he was one of our drivers on the Samson Racing Communications too. But let's call this race. We got some exciting stuff happening as they're going down the front straight here.
Down the front straightaway, the GoPro speed shot into the front straightaway into turn to number 1. We mentioned Chris Griswold kind of checking out there in that blue and white number 71 as we go back to the 121.
Looks like that's
Michael Stacy there. Michael Stacy.
And he's in that Terlingua tribute car, a S197 chassis Mustang, but paying tribute to the old Shelby Terlingua cars from the 60s.
So there is the 71 Chris Griswold out in front, kind of setting his own pace. And as we mentioned, he's won this race before. He actually won both years at Miller Motorsports Park up in Tooele, Utah.
The Thrilla in Tooele. It looks like Chris is coming down there, but now here's an interesting thought. I'm not sure if he has ABS or not, and those 2 Corvettes behind him, as well as that S197 Mustang, are all going to have ABS, so they will be able to maybe modulate a little better than Chris coming into these braking zones. And today, a slippy day like today, I don't think the power that Chris has is going to make a difference. And there you go, getting around right there. One of the Corvettes, here comes the other. Jeff Sawtelle coming up on Chris, so I bet he lets him go by because he's really only concerned with winning that AIX National Championship.
Yeah, and that's one thing if you're new to a National Autosport Association, as it looks like a local caution there, the 93 car.
And that looks like we have more cars. We have 528, number 528 there stuck in the gravel trap.
Yeah, so very slippery here. We did mention a lot of rain coming through earlier, late last night, early this morning. All that rain is out of the way, but very saturated ground here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Courses. These guys still battling for a national championship. So local caution on the racetrack means just that corner only. If you're new to the series and new to road racing, we're still green pretty much all the way around.
And you can really see that difference with those ABS systems and those different chassis. Jeff Sawtelle is getting ready to challenge Griswold, but right there is Chris DeSalvo in that blue Mustang. He is a World Challenge veteran, and he has all kinds of experience as well. So we'll see, again, a classic battle of horsepower. Mustangs, Camaros, Corvettes, everything we got out here.
That 421 out of Illinois Corvette, Kareem Talbot. Nice move there, got a little loose. Down into turn number 1 as we go back up front. You can see through the keyhole. Got to be nice. It's kind of like a big 180-degree turn. You come out of turn number 1 down that nice short straightaway into the keyhole, and then what we would call the back straightaway through the kink and down towards China Beach, where we've seen a few guys earlier today get into the beach there, as you'll see to the left of your screen as they head up into Madness.
So we're seeing lap times now. This is James Forbes we're looking at right now. I think he is our leader overall and of our ST2 class. And that's very interesting because an ST2 car getting out in front of an American Iron Extreme car is very, very rare. But let's also look at these lap times. They are turning 2 minutes. So far, James Forbes has the fast lap time of 2 minutes. Now, to give you some perspective in the dry, Chris Griswold was turning 1:31 yesterday, so 30 seconds slower around the road course now that we're in the really wet, slippery stuff.
He actually broke the track record, broke his own track record yesterday in the qualifying race, 1:26 and change. So just goes to show you how much slower they have to be here under the wet, as we are very racy on the racetrack. Second in AI now that we saw a quick glimpse of, I think that was Van Charbonneau. Yeah, the 77 there of Andrew Van Charbonneau.
Now, interestingly about Andrew, he won the 2010 SCCA runoffs in the Spec Miata, and he's also running a Spec Miata here this weekend. So again, some guys are fast in anything. Looks like he's doing great there. Saw a little bit of a wiggle, and that's actually a rental car for my friend Steve Poe. So that's a rental ride for him. S197 chassis Mustang, very good chassis. to deal with an AI, good ABS system, which may be really making a difference in this wet stuff today. See the safety truck there? Looks like they are attending to car number 93, perhaps. That's Will Stukas, who is running a 4th gen Camaro. So it's a bummer to see Will stuck out there and getting attended to by the safety team.
And the 77 started mid-pack, so he has worked his way up through the pack there pretty good. He ran 8th on Thursday in the qualifying race and 12th yesterday. So learned a little bit here, obviously, as he works his way to the front. So doing a great job right now, that 77. 50 car, that is Dean Martin. I believe Dean Martin, the red number 50 now, coming down the backstretch through the kink.
And Dean is dialing it up because he's down to a 1:55 as his best lap time, so he's starting to turn the wick up a little bit. And maybe he sees Van Charbonneau back there coming after him, so he's trying to put a little distance on the field. And man, Dean can drive, so he's definitely doing well and getting out in front of the AI field now.
One of just a handful of 3-time NASA champions. He won last year in ST2 and American Iron, and back in 2010 won American Iron. So a lot of talent when you come out to this race each and every year, and it's always fun to watch all these talented drivers on the racetrack going for that big national championship. Dean Martin right now in the 50, leading American Iron. As again, each of the races today, 45 minutes in length. We're not talking about laps. It's 45 minutes, the time they leave the grid till the checkered flag. So run as many laps, as many fast laps as you can. As again, Dean Martin leading right now in American Iron.
And he's coming up to the back of the ST2 field. He's coming up on Chris DeSalvo. Now, interestingly, oh wow, that was a little close. Looks like they got Will Stukas out there, out of the gravel trap, and a little close, but these guys are okay. So right now, Dean Martin putting on a clinic again, just like he did last year. If you remember, Dean Martin in the ST2 race was coming up on the SU field. So this guy might be a wet weather specialist. I know he brought 11 sets of tires for that car. Prepared. He's also planning running in the STR2 race. Little flash of brake lights. Let's see what he does here on the inside.
Yeah, working to the inside, now into the keyhole. And it looks like we are going to go full course yellow, as Dean Martin was going to make a bonsai move down into keyhole. So we are full course caution. He brought those 11 sets of tires. It's paid off so far because he won on Thursday night, and he also won AI on Friday during the qualifying race there. So been very fast all week long, John, as guys still racing on the front straightaway to that caution flag. So full course caution here at Mid-Ohio.
Well, let's take a chance to maybe check in with Chris Cabetto again on our Samson Racing Communications net.
Safety vehicle flag at start finish.
Chris Cabetto up here in the Speedcast booth. How are things out there?
Well, as you can see, they're a little slippery. Actually, the car was feeling pretty good. I had a good run. I was doing really good in the braking zone, but I went on the dry line instead of going as far as braking, and I should have been on the right-hand side. The car was actually doing really well, but just made a mistake, John.
Well, that happens, buddy. Looks like you're going to have a restart after this full course yellow. Maybe a chance to redeem yourself, like we had our dinner at the prison where the Shawshank Redemption was filmed. Maybe it's time for the Mid-Ohio Redemption for Chris Cabetto.
Yeah, unless they can get me out of here in enough time to get not lapped, which has already happened, I think it may be a little difficult.
All right, well, good luck, my friend. We'll check in with you later.
Copy. Thank you very much.
So still under the full course caution right now with the 50. Just a rundown, leading American Iron right now, Dean Martin, Team Fassler right now in second. We mentioned the 77 who's made a big move early. Andrew Van Charbonneau in the 77 runs third. Bruce Byerly fourth, and Audrey Zavodsky in the 7 car rounds out your top 5. If you look at Super Touring 1, ST1 as we call it, Scott Willem in the 61 out front of the 548 Terry Free, followed by the 8 of Paul Kaiser.
Super Touring 2, James Forbes still out front, followed by Kareem Alex Talbot, Jeffrey Sawtell in third, 4th place in Super Touring 2, Chris DeSalvo, 5th, Craig Capaldi. It looks like AIX, it's still Chris Griswold out in front, followed by Team Fessler, Paul Fessler probably behind the wheel there, and Michael Stacy in 3rd place.
Remember, if you're just joining us here on SpeedcastTV.com, you can always surf over to the official website for the National Autosport Association at nasaproracing.com, or the website that is dedicated to this event online at nasachampionships.com. You can follow us on Twitter at NASAProRacing, and I think we're going to hashtag NASAChamps this weekend.
I believe that's it. And also we have about 150 people watching using our Race Monitor application, and also at nasachampionships.com. So if you want to see all the action, again, you can't know the players without a program. I sound like I'm trying to sell you a program at Dodger Stadium there.
So under full course caution, our first national championship of the weekend. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll get back to racing here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. You're watching the 2012 NASA Championships. Welcome back to the 2012 NASA Championships presented by Toyo Tires alongside John Lindsay. My name is Rob Clipper. We had a full course caution in our first national championship race of the weekend. We're going to be going green here shortly. This is American Iron Extreme, American Iron, Super Touring 1, and Super Touring 2.
So it looks like James Forbes is still out front of the overall field and Super Touring 2, and he'll be taking us around to our restart on the back straight. Interestingly, you can see a number of cars going by with a little bit of mud on them, and I wonder if they've had some off-course excursions there.
Green flag comes out. We're back underway. Again, a 45-minute race as they are working lap number 6 here. Forbes out of Mason, Ohio, so he's a local Buckeye, is up into Madness. Getting a little sideways there in his Corvette as he leads them down underneath the Honda Bridge. Forbes finished up 6th in his qualifying race on Thursday, ran 2nd yesterday, so picked it up a few notches to get a good starting spot here for the national championship.
Look at Dean Martin coming up. I think, you know, Dean is a very competitive guy. I think he wants the overall as well as the American Iron win. You can see him right on the tailpipes of that Corvette.
Yeah, anytime you have a shot to not only win your class, but win the overall, it's kind of like another feather in your cap, and you can walk around with bragging rights for the entire year.
Well, and you can do the Muhammad Ali when you walk through the paddock and say, I am the greatest. And there you go. He got it done. He got around Jeff Sawtelle right there coming into the carousel turn. Dean Martin on the hunt for another American Iron National Championship. I think he's looking for the overall title in this group, even though, as we said, all it gets you is some bragging rights.
Yeah, we saw the white car as we see the GoPro speed shot here in the front straightaway. Dean Martin in the 50, the red number 50 through turn number 1. You can really hear those AI cars come by us here on the front straightaway. All that big, heavy V8 power.
It's a beautiful piece of noise, I tell you what.
Dean Martin now into keyhole. Into the keyhole is what we would call turn number 2, turn 3, off turn 3 now, down the back straightaway. The kink, turn number 4, and a lot of speed down into turn 5, then up to Madness. And not only do you carry a lot of speed, it's off camber coming down into what you go by China Beach here. So it's an interesting part of the racetrack.
It really is. But look, here comes Von Charbonneau. He's not letting Dean get too far away. He's mounting a little bit of a charge there.
That's the white 77 Mustang to the inside, now to the outside.
And Brian Fessler is actually in front of Charbonneau now, so he's making a charge as well, coming up to the front to go after Dean. And we're seeing the American Iron cars really putting on a show, giving the maybe bigger horsepower ST1 and ST2 cars a little bit of grief. And boy,
whoa,
we got a spin.
now trouble. I believe that's Fessler.
Yes, Mr. Fessler is off there. Maybe he got a little too excited, heard me talking about him. That seems to be a little bit of a jinx this weekend, so maybe I should just not talk about anyone, Rob.
Well, as this track begins to dry out, does that lay towards the AI cars with all that horsepower as it gets drier? Obviously, they're going to pick up more speed than the ST cars.
Well, the American Iron Extreme cars, I think, are the ones where you see the big gains. We've seen, you know, they're out there running 208, 209, where they were running 130s before. It might be a little bit of an advantage because I think most of those fellas were out on slicks, and the AI cars are actually on DOT Toyo RA1 Proxys tires, and they really have good grip if you leave them at that fuller tread depth. But again, that adds another bit of strategy, because if you have the tires that are still at full tread depth and it starts to dry out here, which we're starting to see from our perch here in the booth, that there may be some dry spots coming, all of a sudden you slow way down when you have those wet tires on, because there's tread squirm and all kinds of things going on. So it's really, it's kind of dicey. You got to figure it out. You see the dry line starting to come alive there.
77 again running second right now in American Iron. Andrew Von Charbonneau trying to chase down the 50 of Dean Martin, the very fast Dean Martin, as he is leading American Iron right now. Currently third in AI is Bruce Byerly, then Audrey Zavodsky, and TJ Bain now moving into the top 5. So you can see there the 77 Mustang Von Charbonneau now up into Madness. Nice little uphill, and then you make a hard left turn.
Boy, did you see the push there, Rob?
Yeah.
Look at the front wheels moving around on that car.
Yeah, I think he's really driving that thing. His crew's probably telling him, listen, you need to try and run this guy down.
Well, and again, to my point about having a lot of seat time in a lot of different cars. Now, he's coming from a spec Miata. Interestingly, Bruce Byerly also races a spec Miata, so they're really attuned to chassis things and managing it to try and get the most out of the chassis and not necessarily relying on power as a crutch. You might be seeing a little of that handling really starting to come into play here in this American Iron race. Of course, Dean's fast in anything, so we got to give him the props there.
So again, the 77 of Andrew Von Charbonneau, second right now in American Iron. If you're just joining us here on SpeedcastTV.com, Dean Martin is leading American Iron, looking for the national championship. Also out on the racetrack here in this group, we have the ST cars, ST1 right now. It's the 61 of Scott Willem. Terry Free in the 548, also in ST1 running second. James Forbes is currently leading in the 69 car Super Touring 2. His battle is really all around this racetrack right now.
Here comes Alec Udell. There's Paul Fessler and the monster Mustang that he has, but here's Alec Udell coming down the front straight. Alongside him, it looks like it was the number 29 car, I believe, of Team Sarsfield. So battles going on all over the field. Some of my best races have been for 6th or 7th place. Looks like that's Mark Adams in the number 76, the UBR Racing, and that's the old Fox chassis Mustang. So they're out here doing well as in the field, hanging in there. Al Watson, another Fox chassis Mustang there, the number 70 as they go by.
Nearly 400 entrants for this year's NASA Championships. Drivers from all over I believe there's 33 different states, 2 countries represented this weekend. As you can see, heading down into the Madness area, nose to tail, side by side.
And sideways in some cases.
Sideways. That's okay, it's okay. It's a little wet out there, that's okay. There's the 71. We talked about Chris Griswold, who started up front, lost a little bit on the original start, trying to work his way back up to the front.
He's got Nicky Remen right behind him. So that's kind of ironic where you have an AI car that's bringing the heat to an AIX car. But look at Chris. He can't put down power anywhere. He even thinks about it, and the car starts to step out on it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When you have all that horsepower on a very slippery racetrack, it's hard to get it to the ground.
Very tough.
Kind of hoping they decide to bring out the blow dryers while you're out there racing to try and drive this thing off even quicker.
Right, and if something happens like in the Daytona race where somebody manages to hit the blow dryer,
yeah,
then it dries out real quick.
Yeah, right, absolutely. As they head down the front straightaway here and cross the stripe, Chris Griswold, American Iron Extreme driver.
It looks like Chris is stepping it up. That was a 149 lap. We were talking he was running 209s, 208s when it was really wet, so maybe Chris is finding some dry track, and he's going to start laying down a little bit of power. This is the place where we'll see it. He's coming down into the keyhole turn. If he's got some sauce here and some dry track, you will see that number 71 car vanish so fast that it appears to go back in time.
And you can really see him, like right there in the keyhole, drove in a little bit deeper and it washed out a little bit. So he's starting to feel the track's drying out, and he's kind of coming into himself. But he's had a great week thus far. He's trying to go 3 in a row after the 2 qualifying races. And right behind him, a nice battle side by side.
That's Mickey again, I believe, and Audrey Zavodsky alongside him. So Audrey came up and challenged a little bit there, and you can see the equal horsepower of those American Iron cars. American Iron does allow a power to weight ratio, so you might have cars with lighter weight and less power, or heavier weight and more power, but these are 2 S197 chassis Mustangs, so they're probably just about equal in power, and you saw it in that drag race down the front, or the back straight, excuse me.
Yeah, Riemann in that yellow number 41, a little loose there underneath the Honda bridge. Another Buckeye driver from Richfield, Ohio. That yellow number 41, regular in the Great Lakes region.
And Mickey is actually an old friend of mine. He used to run a similar yellow Mustang, Tweety Bird, in the American Iron Extreme class. And he had a big off here and managed to kind of write that one off. So now he's giving American Iron a try.
Again, we see the red and white number 77 as he crosses us here at the start-finish line, Andrew von Charbonneau.
Looks like that's Bruce Byerly that we have on the screen right now.
Yep, the 01, the white number 01 out of Naples, Florida. You can see him heading into Keyhole, ran 6th both of the qualifying rounds this week. Now 2nd on the racetrack behind Dean Martin in American Iron.
So we're doing our best to confuse our camera guys because we have two almost identical white Mustangs there. We didn't catch that Byerly had gotten by Andrew von Charbonneau. That's great for Bruce. I am so proud of him. He had struggled getting that car together, getting it all dialed in. I believe that's one of the old FR500S chassis from the Miller Mustang Challenge that was around a bit ago. Tuned up a little bit for American Iron, but you know, as you can see, those are great cars to learn how to drive in and race. Up at the Ford Racing High Performance Driving School at Miller, maybe give it a shot and you can be out here like Bruce. There's Dean Martin.
Yeah, your leader, Dean Martin, getting it done. It's been lightning quick this entire race, and I think he's even getting quicker. Minute 44.985 is best lap.
And that was his last lap.
That was his last lap, yeah. So
he's coming across the stripe here pretty quick, so let's see what Dean knocks out on this lap. I bet he's going to turn up the gain pretty good. Looks like we have about 12 minutes remaining in this race, Rob.
45 minutes total. Again, that's from with the time they leave the grid. We don't stop the clock for cautions or any type of red flag condition on the racetrack. So there is Dean Martin crossing the stripe, and wow, does pick it up, 142.7. We have one in the gravel. That is the 21, I believe.
That's Robin Burnett.
Yep, American Iron driver.
Looks like Robin just got a little bit loose. There was a lot of water this morning when I got to the track. So that's a very slippery area, and he's doing his best. You know, this is good, but you can see the car's kind of maybe a little hung up in the nose there. So hopefully he gets out under his own power. We don't have another yellow flag situation there. And that was, you saw Chris DeSalvo coming around the outside of, I think that Jeff Sawtell. These two are side by side in the carousel. Woo, maybe a little bumping and rubbing there. I hope not.
Yeah, very, very tight. Kind of the technical part of Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course through the carousel there. And you think you could go 2 wide, you think you might go 3 wide, and sometimes it doesn't work out. They did a great job there as you shoot past the GoPro speed shot on the front straightaway down into turn 1. And these guys are getting at it. You can see a little carnage there hanging off.
Oh, and that's Chris Cabetto. So that's why when we were talking to him earlier, he was saying, get me back out there. Chris must have had it off the rear bumper cover of that RTR Mustang, the Von Gittin Signature Edition. Looks like it's a little tore up. Boy, look at these guys. They're still just all over it.
Oh, yeah, a little drifting. You mentioned Von Gittin doing a little drifting.
There we go.
Doing a little drifting there in
Keyhole.
Keep
it running, keep on the gas. Beautiful job. That's great. We don't have to pull anyone out. Very happy safety officials there. That was number 29, Team Sarsfield. They kept it going and did not get stuck in the gravel. But that was definitely Dorefto.
Yeah, Jeff Sawtell there in the 222 out of Wisconsin. The vet won on Friday.
And that's the battle for third place, the final step in the podium. Whoa, and DeSalvo goes wide.
DeSalvo off the racetrack there, coming off of Madness. You saw a safety vehicle out there doing their job.
But I don't think DeSalvo lost a position because those other cars are all AI cars. So he kept his position, but he lost a lot of ground on Sawtell for that final podium step in Super Touring 2.
And that's also one of the cool things about these events is you're racing guys in your class, but as you mentioned, you're also racing for the overall. So you may get stuck if you're an AI driver in a host of ST cars going for position. You're not really racing them for position, but in the overall position you are.
Yeah, and we try to really talk to people about that because racing with someone who's out of class, you know, it's just not that cool because it can really cost them their race. So you do your best not to race for that overall position. And really race with the guys in your class, but sometimes, I mean, you can use a slower car, out-of-class car, and use it as kind of a pick to set somebody up for a really good pass.
Yeah, speaking of good passes, down in turn 1, past the GoPro speed shot.
There's Chris Cabetto still with the rear bumper hanging off.
Yep, Jeff Sawtell right in front of him in the
here comes DeSalvo.
222.
He's coming. And there's Paul Fessler coming around the outside there. Chris kind of moving over to block. No thank you, sir. I'll shut that door now, thanks. So we'll see what happens if Fessler's able to put down a bunch of power coming into this drier line. I mean, he's got a monster engine in that car, and he may be able to really put some time and maybe catch up to Chris Griswold there.
Yeah, and again, we're closing in under about 10 minutes left in this race, so these guys are certainly going at it now through the kink down into the China Beach area up to Madness here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course this year, celebrating 61 years of racing action. And these guys know that they're coming down to it. If they want to try and get up there and get on that podium, have a good finish here at the championships, they need to do it here late in this race.
They got to get it done. You know, there's a lot of, you know, our big sponsor, Toyo Tires. American Iron is the Toyo Tire spec class. So there's a fair amount of Skrilla on the line here for these guys, trying to improve their positions. It goes fairly deep down in the field. So they are trying to improve their positions, and also, hey, they've been racing all weekend. You want to get a good position, even if it's only 1 or 2 shots up the running order. It still is very satisfying to finish.
I think that 55X, yep, Richard Golinello there right in front of Chris Cabetto. So 2 white cars, very similar looking. Cabetto, of course, is the right rear, or the bumper, trying to come off.
And it looks like Rich Golinello may have a flappy bumper too. So 2 white Mustangs and 2 flappy bumpers. The poor camera guys, they must be going nuts about now.
And Golinello out of Florida, the Mustang boss 302. He ran 4th on Thursday, 3rd in his qualifying race yesterday. And they are nose to tail getting at it. So Golinello out front, Cabetto taking a peek to the inside, coming into keyhole, and behind them a host of cars going for position. 2 wide, now trying 3 wide as they head into the keyhole. They thought better of that.
Yeah, I think they're starting to look around and say, is that guy in my class? Is that guy in my class? All right, this one's worth it, this one's not worth it.
And again,
here they go, and
yeah,
Cabetto. Now, Cabetto and Golinello have been racing hard together all weekend, so I think this is going to be a pretty good race to follow. Let's see what position these fellas are battling for, but they are definitely not giving up at all. New overall leader, number 421, Kareem Alex Talbot, is out in front of the whole field. Now, interestingly, Rob, this is a battle. Guess what place? 16th.
I would have said 16th because I'm looking at it, but yeah, that's a battle deep in the field. These guys at this point really don't have a shot to win this race, but they want the position. I mean, that's what these races are all about.
Oh yeah, you never give up.
Racing in general, I guess, is to pass the guy in front of you, right?
Well, yeah, and our friends at NASA Rally Sport have a saying: it's press on regardless. And I think, you know, you never give up. You're out there. You know, always keep your head up, keep fighting. So once again, you know, maybe it's not the battle for the lead, for the big dollars, but it is the battle for 16th place, which is very important for both of these guys, that they give it their all. A lot of heart out there. Again, it's showing a great battle between these 2 very equal cars. Ooh, a little slip there. Now this is a terrible place to get stuck. Chris is going right around. GoPro speed cam, what do you got for us?
Yeah, Chris Cabetto to the inside of Golinello will take the position into turn number 1. So a little bit of a mistake there, and that's what Cabetto was waiting for. Bumper coming off, doesn't matter. He makes the move and makes it stick. So he'll take the spot now.
He's got to defend that inside line. Is he Golinello peeking? Nope, not going to get it. So he was defending the inside, but also covering the outside. NASA rules allow for 1 defensive move a corner. If you do any more than that, you're blocking and you're going to get in trouble with your race director. In this case, I believe it's my old friend Todd Cavini, who is our race director, also the National Series Director for American Iron.
About 5 minutes left to go in our first national championship race of the day. We'll crown 4 champions here today at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. A little bit of wind still, overcast, as you can see here on SpeedcastTV.com. Nice little battle between 2 American Iron drivers. Everyone chasing Dean Martin in AI, who has been lightning quick, about 2 seconds quicker than the rest of the field since the drop of the green flag. He has gone out front. This is a battle a little bit deeper. Chris Cabetto there in the 4 car. He just gotten by Golinello in the 55X.
That's a really cool car that Chris has. It started off as a Saleen Speed Lab car prepared by Performance Auto Sports out of Richmond, Virginia. And now it's a RTR, which is a very cool Mustang that you can buy, I believe, through your Ford dealers. Vaughn Gittin Jr. worked on that. Chris and Vaughn did a great video called Grip versus Drift up at Summit Point. I think you can find it on YouTube. Very cool, with a grip car and a drift car, both RTR Mustangs going through and racing side by side. So again, really neat what you can buy off the dealership floor these days, Rob, because these cars are not that far from stock.
Back up front, Dean Martin. Yep. Dean Martin and Chris Griswold. Walled white behind him, of course, in the Chris Griswold, rather, in the American Iron Extreme behind him. He is leading AIX, and Dean Martin leading in AI. So these guys going nose to tail.
Looks like they're starting to encounter some lap traffic. That was number 75, Mark Adams, that was in there with them. So here's where some strategy comes into play. Can Dean use some of these cars to hold off Bruce Byerly and Andrew Von Charbonneau? Is Chris using some of these to keep Paul Fessler off his tailpipes? Only time will tell.
Yeah, well, both of these guys have won here before and won a national championship before. Were both very fast in there, and they're using a lap car now as they cross the stripe. Dean Martin trying to hold off Griswold to the inside, not going to happen, and Griswold with a nice move will take the spot. Not really racing for position because they're in different classes, but
they're racing for pride.
Racing for pride, and he made a nice move there. Used the lap car as a spot, or as a pick rather, and took it over in turn 1. So now into keyhole, and he's already pulling away. See ya, Mr. Martin.
Now the next car in line, that's I believe Mark Smith, and an interesting story. You can see it has a funny colored front fender. He had a big off yesterday, but the Ford Racing trailer is here, and they hooked him up with all the parts to fix that car. They were working until 1 a.m. last evening over there trying to fix up Mark Smith's car. So that's the commitment that Ford has to our American Iron racers here. That's very, very nice to see.
So Dean Martin there in the 50, who is still leading American Iron, just getting passed by the leader for American Iron Extreme. What are the two biggest differences between AI and AIX?
You know, I have to say it's the tires and the power, because in American Iron Extreme, sky's the limit. As I understand it, Chris Griswold's car can get turned up to some fairly stunning horsepower numbers. AI, you're limited a little bit on horsepower, power to weight ratio. Also, the tires are different. American Iron Extreme can run full non-DOT slicks, much wider. I believe the maximum width, if I remember right, is a 13-inch slick. American Iron is limited to a 275 section width Toyo RA1 tire that you can buy and actually run on the street. I've done it before myself. So those are the big differences. Some more chassis modifications allowed in Extreme, but very, you know, you can still recognize these as the same Mustangs and Camaros and Firebirds that you know and love from your youth in the 80s with the mullet, right?
Right, yeah, my youth in the 80s. Thank you very much for that. 77 car, Andrew Von Charbonneau. Currently third in American Iron behind Bruce Byerly, who's running second. Of course, Dean Martin, we've documented the 50 car out front. Pretty much since the drop of the green flag. Just a few minutes remaining here.
Now we're seeing some interesting things with the lap times. Dean is turning up the wick. He's running, his last lap time was a 140.523. Bruce is at a 142.809. Andrew Von Charbonneau at a 144.184. But Mickey Remen has come up to a 142.062. Now that could be traffic, that could be anything. There's Mickey. Whoa, and he's stepping out pretty big time. And he got by Andrew. So yeah, there's the tail of the lap times right there. Now Mickey's going to have to work to keep that position.
Yeah, and that's to get on the podium. Von Charbonneau was running in third, and Raymond got right by him there off of turn number 1 as they come through the kink now. Down the back straightaway, again, one of the highest, the fastest parts of the Mid-Ohio Sports Car course. So Von Charbonneau going to try and run him back down now as they head into Madness, but it looks like Riemann has pulled away a little bit.
Oh, good for Mickey. That is so great to see. Hopefully he hangs on to it here. You saw him thinking about defending that inside line, but you know, the inside line around that Madness corner, in my opinion, is not the fast line. People may think differently, but it's always a chess game, Rob, when you're out there. Do you defend? Do you go for the fast line? How do you do it? It all depends on who's around you, how long is left. We're getting towards the final minutes here, and that is a big one for Mickey and for Andrew, trying to get the third spot, the last spot on that national championships podium.
The 70 car, Albert Watson out of New Jersey, a regular with the Northeast region. He is leading the Northeast region. We saw a glimpse of him there.
And Al is also our Northeast region series director for American Iron. I had the pleasure of meeting with him at both Pocono Raceway and New Jersey Motorsports Park earlier this summer.
So we go back up to our overall leader, the driver who is faster than anyone out on the racetrack, and that is Kareem Alex Talbot in the 421. He is overall leader and, of course, leading ST2 as well.
So in the Ford versus Chevy battle here, it looks like Chevy has the first 2 steps, Ford has the next. Oh, good Lord, I can't even get my screen to go that far. Oh, well. Ford has the next, in the overall race, we've got 2 Chevys in front, then we've got Fords all the way down to P9, and then TJ Bain in that 3rd gen Pontiac Firebird in 10th place overall. And in American Iron, TJ is now running in 7th place.
So your overall leader and ST2 leader, the 421 of Talbot out of Streamwood, Illinois. Nice Corvette there, regular in the Midwest region. He ran 3rd on Thursday night, 8th. I say Thursday night, Thursday afternoon, and 8th yesterday afternoon.
Rob is showing his sprint car routes there.
Right. Well, they do have their lights on as they're coming at us here into the keyhole. The lights are on. So Been very fast here today. So Kareem Alex Talbot, your overall leader and your ST2 leader, as he comes out of keyhole towards the kink there on that back straightaway. Again, the pro course today, 13 turns, 2.25 miles. We take the chicane out of the mix here, which is actually turns 2 and 3. We take those out as they head into keyhole, and white flag going to be coming out next time by for the 421. So it'll be 1 lap to go here.
In a very eventful race, you know, nothing really. There's Mickey again. Who's that coming up? That, you know, that may be some lap traffic, because that may be Brian Fessler, who went off earlier. We'll check our screens here and find out who that is.
Yeah,
that is Brian, but he's right there in between Mickey and Andrew for 4th place. So he made a good recovery from that off we saw earlier. That's great news.
Yeah, those guys all racing 4th position in American Iron. As you can see, oh, and now the 29 car off of the racetrack.
That's Team Sarsfield, and you remember I was giving him compliments for saving it after the Drifto move, and looks like he overcooked it a little. But I bet he may be able to clear this, and we're so late in the race that I'm not sure what it'll do, but if there's a local yellow there, it could have some effect.
And now the white flag comes out, signifying 1 lap to go as the 421 of Talbot crosses the stripe, heads back into turn number 1 for the final time, looking for the overall win and the ST2 National Championship.
It looks like Dean Martin has actually stepped it up to a 139.281 now, so he just continues to increase as much as he needs to, and just staying out in front there.
So again, there is the 421 of Kareem Alex Talbot. I mentioned regular in the Midwest region. A lot of great regions from coast to coast with the National Autosport Association. As the lights are on, he's kind of cruising here on this last lap. 138.273. His last lap time.
Now that's interesting. The overall leader, we were talking about Dean Martin's time, not that far off. And here comes Dean right now, heating into the keyhole turn. He's just concentrating on fundamentals, staying on the course, and just trying to stay out of trouble to win another American Iron National Championship.
Dean Martin down the back straightaway there, and like we said earlier, one of a few guys to win 3 in national championships. Looking for number 4, his 3rd in AI.
And he had a real heartbreaker at Miller Motorsports Park, where he was leading, and just one little mistake on one of the final turns there in the race.
And we see the checkered flag coming out. Double checkered flags waving as the 421 crosses the stripe and will take the overall and ST2 win. And Dean Martin also very close in tow. Crosses the stripe, Chris Griswold as well. So a great race for Kareem Alex Talbot, taking the national championship in ST2. Chris Griswold gets the win in American Iron Extreme. Dean Martin, as we documented, very fast here today at Mid-Ohio, gets the win in American Iron. And the race to the checkered flag, of course, for ST1 as well.
So here comes Dean Martin, I believe, crossing the stripe for American Iron. Now let's see what happens in the rest of that field, because it was definitely not decided where the final podium spots were going to be for the rest of American Iron.
Yeah, it was a great battle there between Riemann, Fassler. There is the 01, Bruce Byerly coming by. He'll finish 2nd in American Iron.
Now these next positions I don't think are anywhere near decided for American Iron.
That's the 68 of Craig Capaldi, an ST2 runner out of Richmond, Michigan.
Oh boy,
and
here
we
come
go.
Our guys.
Time
Look
to
at
get
this,
to the stripe.
bumping and robbing.
Mickey Riemann in that yellow car making some moves through carousel as they race to the stripe.
Oh, I think Mickey got it. Mickey definitely, Mickey got that 3rd spot. Now you saw that other car that was right in there. What a race in American Iron. People coming back and forth and all over the place. I really enjoyed watching that battle for the you know, the 2 through 6, they were all right there. Really great to see.
Fassler there ends up in 4th. Alex Udell on that last lap jumped by Andrew Von Charbonneau to take over the 5th spot. So some great racing there in the later stages. And I think it took a little bit. These guys were kind of cautious at the start to fill out the racetrack, fill out their race car, find out where their car's good, where their car's not so good, what line to take, a lot of obstacles to overcome. And once you get all that figured out, then you can kind of go racing. We kind of saw that in the second half of this race.
Oh boy, but it takes a lot of skill to run in the wet and run hard. it's not about just running fast. You also have to kind of stay alive. If you go off big, you know, you're trying to push it too hard, boom, right into the wall. And you saw that by Chris Cabetto and a couple of our other drivers. I am so happy to see that number 41 there in that third spot. That is just great news. Fresh build, car wasn't done until very recently. And it's really great to see Mickey taking that third spot. And I'm also very proud of Bruce. He came and overcame. I know I was at Miami, Homestead, Miami earlier, and he was having all kinds of problems with the car. Overcame those, so it's really great to see all the triumph there in the field.
We saw the 16X there of Alex Udell, as we mentioned, started deep in the field, worked his way up. So your final results here in the first event of the weekend: American Iron Extreme taking the win, the 71 of Chris Griswold. Second, the number 1, Team Fassler. Of course, Michael Stacy in the 121 rounds out your field, so congratulations to Chris Griswold. American Iron, your winner, the 50 of Dean Martin. Bruce Byerly, the 01, finished second. Byerly kind of holding on there. He didn't really have battles with anyone. Not a nice little smooth second place finish. Mickey Riemann, meanwhile, ends up on the podium in third. Team Fassler fourth. Alec Udell into the top 5. Andrew Von Charbonneau, Audrey Zavodsky seventh. TJ Bain, Landon Ball, and Albert Watson. That's your top 10 in AI.
Super Touring 1, Scott Wellham in first place, the number 61, and my old friend Terry Free from Southern California in the second place in Super Touring 1, and Paul Kaiser in the third spot for Super Touring 1. Super Touring 2, we have Kareem Alex Talbot, our overall winner, in first place, number 69, James Forbes in second. The final spot on the podium goes to Jeff Sawtell, fourth, Chris DeSalvo, fifth, Craig Capaldi, in sixth place, James Stevens, seventh place, James Holloway, 8th place, George Winkler, and 9th, Greg Vanucci.
So, congratulations to our winners of our first national championship race of the weekend here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. It was a little wet, it was a little slippery, but nonetheless some great racing, especially there in AI. So congratulations to all the national champions who won here today at Mid-Ohio. We're going to take a break here on SpeedcastTV.com because it's lunchtime. It's time to eat. We're going to take about an hour off, and we'll come back with our second national championship race of the weekend. It's Honda Challenge, a very important race for these drivers, but also a very popular division for the National Autosport Association. We'll take about an hour break. When we come back, it will be Honda Challenge on the racetrack for their national championship.